Hello, and welcome to another video. So today we're doing a cleaning motivation video, and today is also my 5th year anniversary, and I thought, what better day and what better way to share with you guys some lessons that I've learned, just in life in general, and especially within marriage. I used my cleaning time today to reflect, and I would suggest if you're not like a person who absolutely loves to clean, use your cleaning time to reflect on your life, reflect maybe on some things that you'd like to change, and that's what I did today. So let's get started with some of the things that was brought to my remembrance as I cleaned my home today. The first thing I'm going to start with is that people don't usually change, they evolve. That's family members, that'll be your spouse, and it also includes yourself. When I think about myself now versus when I first got married at 24, I haven't changed much. Like, the core of who I am is pretty much still the same. I've evolved. I've gotten, to be a better version of that person, kind of tweaking things over the years, changing some things that would help me to become a better person, but the basis of who I am hasn't really changed all that much. So I would say, especially when you're looking at relationships and you're looking at possibly someone you want to spend the rest of your life with, just remind yourself that you might not change too much, you will evolve, and the other person might not be all that different, 5-10 years down the road either. I think my next lesson would be know what it is that you want. And if spending time alone, just quietly with yourself, just living life yourself, if you don't get married until you're like 40 or 50 because you simply don't know what makes you happy and know what it is that you want, that's okay. As I cleaned up my home today, I realized that my life's pretty simple and I'm happy with it. I don't need an extravagant home. I don't need fancy things. I'm okay with the simple things in life. And I don't think if I would have ever married someone who didn't understand that, not that they have to be the same, but who didn't understand that I'm really a simple girl. Walmart's one of my favorite stores. I'm simple. I don't need designer. I don't need name brand. I drive a Kia and I'm excited about it. I live in an apartment and I love it. And I like to flourish in the space that I'm in. That's not saying that I'll never get anything new or, I don't want anything new. I'm satisfied with where I am. And I'm also satisfied with the process that it takes to get to those other spaces in life. But I'm just really not, the simple things in life really make me excited. And that's one of the things that I've learned through the 5 years of marriage. Another lesson that I've learned is that love is a process. It's an everyday choice. It's a process. It takes time to learn to love. Think about how long it takes someone to fall in love with themselves. So when you add someone else into the mix, you have to know that this is going to take some time. If I've been living with me my whole life, imagine adding someone and all of their idiosyncrasies and all of their just the nuances of who they are as a person and trying to love all that. I think people don't realize that it's not something that happens when you say I do. It's basically getting married is kind of like you saying I'm committed to doing this every single day. Every single day I'm going to choose to love you. The next thing I learned is that building takes time. And though building may be a more tedious and painful process, it's much better than just acquiring. You're just taking things, just moving into something that's already built. Building takes tears. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad. Building also takes removing things that don't fit into the picture that you are building. And oddly enough, I know some people might not like this, but sometimes those things that need to be removed, those pillars, are family members. Sometimes it's traits from family members. Sometimes it's the family members themselves. As our kids get older, sometimes they're children, especially if you're you have a step parent situation going on, joint custody. Sometimes it's children. Sometimes you have to give away relationships in order for you to evolve into the next person. I never say throw people away, but sometimes you must learn how to place people in your life. It's so imperative. And if the people who you surround yourself around prevent you from being able to build the thing that you started out the marriage intending to build, those people, they must be moved out of the way. Because at the end of the day, and I think about this often, when I leave this earth, and prayerfully my children are still here, and my name, how I lived is still here on the earth, but I'm no longer. Some of the crazy things just don't matter, but what I built, like the things that I established, not just like monetary or physically, but the things that I establish in the hearts and minds of others is so important. But those things take time to build. The next thing kind of goes right along with that, and that's peace is everything. I've had a lot of things and I've had very little things, and the most important thing that I've had is peace. I've been homeless before. We've been homeless before. But when you have peace, you don't need much else. It's kind of like a covering. It's like a casing, like just a shield that follows you around, and it's something to behold. It's nothing that it's like money can't buy it. Nothing can buy what peace can give you. And oddly enough, it's something that, it's a process. It's a process to learn how to establish peace in your life, definitely through relationship with God, not necessarily religion, but peace. Peace is so important. Like, I don't think I would be able to accomplish anything, and that's including sitting here making this video, if I didn't have peace. In that, I just am who I am. My life is the way it is. I'm happy with it. I'm at peace with some of the decisions that I made. I'm at peace with the bad things that have happened to me. I'm at peace with the good things that happened to me. I have peace, and I've learned that everything that I could ever acquire is nothing in comparison to it. Another thing that I've learned in 5 years of marriage is you've got to be willing to be a cheerleader to someone else, even when your life isn't looking like you need to be cheered for. And that goes for both sides. So imagine if both people were cheering on the other side, each of them feeling as though they don't need to be cheered for, their life isn't worth living. You've got to be able to wake up every morning and say, I'm going to cheer for this person. I'm going to root for the best for this person, even if I don't feel like that I deserve it. And to go right along with that, when your spouse acquires the thing that you cheered for them to get, be careful that you don't allow jealousy and envy to seep in. See, when you don't get the right perspective of what the marriage is, and that everything that your partner acquires, you also acquire, jealousy is kind of par for the course. Envy is kind of par for the course. But when I see every one of my husband's accomplishments as an accomplishment for not only me, but for our children and for our legacy, our children's children, it's such a blessing. It makes me be able to be the one who stays home while he goes and work, or be the one to go and work while he stays home. So those kind of like gender roles that us as women and men have a hard time fitting into, they don't exist. The only thing that exists is me cheering you on and supporting you, whatever that looks like. And sometimes the support looks like me doing a role, playing a role that's not necessarily specific to what society says my gender does. Someone's gonna say, Tansy, well, you're cleaning the home right now. Can I tell you a secret? Most of the cleaning my husband does. He loves cleaning the kitchen. He loves washing the dishes. But today I did them because he's not here. And he usually does them even when he has to work. He'll come home, or on the weekends, he'll still do the laundry. I'm more of the detail cleaning person. I do things like organization or planning. So we have making it a point to stick to the things that we're best at. But I can tell you that in our first years of marriage, we didn't do that. We tried to stick to these societal norm roles and didn't necessarily lean on the strengths of the other person. And take it from me, that caused so much turmoil and destroyed the peace within our home because we're different. We're different, and you have to be okay with being different, even though it makes you look odd sometimes. I think that is a very important lesson to learn. And speaking of odd, I also think that it's very important for you to define what's normal for you. You guys see I have green hair. I've said before, my husband doesn't have green hair, yet I'm not odd to him. I'm just me. He's not odd to me. He's just him. He likes to wear hoodies in the summertime and graphic tees. That's just what he does. And I don't ever make him feel not comfortable in his skin. And he doesn't ever make me feel uncomfortable in my skin. And it's so important that you don't try to fit your spouse into a box, because you don't want anyone to fit you into a box. And maybe you don't know that you don't want to be fit into a box until someone tries to stuff you in one and you're uncomfortable there. I think freedom, that freedom of being who you are also creates a very loving and nurturing environment. And it might be hard at first because we're used to people saying, that's normal, that's not normal, that looks good, that doesn't look good. But you've got to be able to come to a place of peace where you say, if it's normal or not to you, it feels right to me. It's right to me. I've spoke with God about it. We speak to God about it. And this is normal and right for us. And just be able to walk, with your head held high, knowing that you're doing what is right for your family. And right for your family is different. It's different for every single family. I think a thing that I didn't know when I got married at 24 is that pain was par for the course. And I don't mean that someone needs to be, being violent towards you, domestic abuse, and just being destructive in the marriage. I'm not saying that, but you have to realize that a part of evolution, think about how many times you've fallen down. Think about how many times you've done the wrong thing before you even knew it was the wrong thing. So it doesn't matter your partner's background. Some people come from 2-parent households. Some people come from one. Some people didn't have either one of their parents and they kind of raised themselves. You have to be willing to go through some of those oops moments with another person and get up and not keep a record of it. I think the Bible says so eloquently what love is, and one of the things that love doesn't do is keep a record of wrongs. And it's so tempting, it is, to be like, you did this to me, no, you did it last time, and 2 years ago, don't you remember when you did this to me? But it doesn't help us to build, because as long as we stay trying to build this one thing in one room, we can't step back and get the airplane view of what this thing is looking like. I can build here and you can build here, and man, we gotta tear this thing down. But once we tear it down, we don't need to keep a record of it. Oh, don't you remember this pillar used to be here? I'm not saying you can't talk about things that happen, because I do think it's necessary sometimes, and bringing it up in a way that is funny maybe because you're forgiven, but to be sad, and let things depress you and you just keep ruminating and bringing them up, I haven't found it to be very conducive to, building within marriage. You see me throwing away a lot of things, right? So my last point is going to be, sometimes you got to throw it all away. And I'm throwing this stuff in this bag, and I'm throwing this stuff in here because I realize it's not serving me well. It's taking up too much space. Possibly I never used it. It's not useful for what I am building. It's not useful for the space that I'm creating. Sometimes you must throw it away. And I am speaking of the marriage. At one point in this video, I had my daughter's blanket in my little, in my thing where I keep my facial supplies. And I haven't seen this blanket in forever. I kind of forgot that it was there, but once I came across it, it was actually hard for me to part ways with. So I'm not saying that throwing away the marriage, if it needs to be thrown away, is not a difficult thing. However, I can't put something new there if I still have this old thing in its place. And even if that is a new version of the same person, like even if that's the evolution of this person, it's the evolution of this person. As long as I hold on to the old that is, I will never get the new. And oddly enough, I think the most paramount moment in my life, the thing that I learned the most lessons from, the thing that brought my relationship with God full circle, the thing that has me able to make videos like this to teach myself and to teach other people how to forgive and move forward, was when I decided to throw it all away. I'm not suggesting everyone do it. I'm just saying, if something is not working, the other party is possibly refusing to evolve, as when we got married, the agreement was for both of us to evolve, right? So if the other person is refusing to evolve, and their evolution or refusal to participate in evolution is stunting you from evolving, something has to change. You have to choose yourself. And a lot of the times, us as women, when we get married, when we start having children, we start choosing everyone aside from us. You've got to choose you, and sometimes choosing you is simply throwing it all away. If you're watching to the end of this video, I want to say thank you. And I also want to say God bless you. And I pray that if you're unmarried and you're searching for marriage, and I pray that God bless you with the marriage of your dreams. And even if that is a person that will enter into your life and help to correct some of those wrong things that have been done to you, fill some of those spaces that maybe, mother, dad, some people just couldn't feel. God's able to do that, and I pray that He does that for you. If you're in a marriage right now and you're struggling to love again, I want to tell you, I've been there before, and God is able even to turn situations like that around. If you watch to the end of this video and you just really say, I want to get up and clean my home like that. I'm unmotivated about life. My circumstance has left me unmotivated. I pray that you also get the strength and get the courage to move forward. Clean up one day at a time. Do it one day at a time. I pray that you find peace. I pray that love and peace find you wherever you are. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.